I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. I'm pretty burnt out right now. So how am I gonna fix that? I'm gonna go straight to Samplette. Now that we here, let's not waste too much time. Let's just start digging through some samples. It's close to what I want. Next one. Hold up. So I just pulled it into FL from my files, and the first thing I'm gonna do is double click on it and turn the trim all the way up in case there's any little noise at the end. And I'm gonna go to the spot where I had the original sample chop. It's around 1:30. Let's start at 1:10 or something. I'm gonna cut it right here. Gonna take this, and it's not perfectly on grid, so I'm just gonna hit Shift Q, and that'll snap it to the nearest line. And I'm gonna pull this over to 40 here. Yeah, so now I just want to find out the tempo. Normally I'd use Serato sample, but it sounds like the tempo changes from different parts of the song, so I'll just do it manually for this one. So I'm just gonna right click the tempo up here and go to tap, and then I'm just gonna hit the comma key on my keyboard and just see until I get it right. All right, 110 seems about correct. All right, so it seems like it starts a little bit early here, so I'm gonna move this over, and I'm gonna make a cut at the end of this one. So I'm gonna cut it right here. I'm gonna go to this first one, hit make unique. Same thing with the second one. That way when I time stretch these, they don't affect each other. And I'm just gonna mute this and move it out the way. So this first one, I'm gonna go up to the top left and make it stretch the audio. And I'm going to stretch it to the nearest grid line. And then same thing with this one, I'm gonna pull it back until it gets to a major grid line. And now we have our main sample chop. And so now what I want to do is double click on each of these and change the mode from resample to stretch. And I'll just play what we got so far. I think I like what we got so far, but I want to make it a little bit faster because the type of vibe that I'm getting from this is kind of like that wheezy, who you foolin' type of vibe. So I'm going to turn this up to say like 116 beats per minute. Now I'm just going to pitch it up. So I'll probably pitch it up quite a bit. I want the Koto to sound a little higher. So we'll start off with like plus 300. We'll just keep going. I think I like plus 500 for now. I'm just gonna go ahead and get my drum sounds. I'm gonna go ahead, get an 808, like a wheezy type of 808. And of course, you gotta turn the hold all the way up, everything else all the way down. Gonna get a pretty hard hitting snare, basic hi-hat, get like a basic open hat, another snare. I'm gonna lay down some basic drum sounds, and I might want to add a secondary melody to this because I feel like this isn't enough. Let's just get started on the drums and we'll go from there. So first thing I'm gonna do is put the snare down, and actually I'm gonna move this up 1/2 step. All right, that's cool. And we're just gonna paste it for the full 8 measures. We're gonna make an 8 measure loop. This is gonna be similar to that signature slower wheezy bounce. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and lay down some basic hi-hats, and then we'll kind of go from there. I think this is good. Just go ahead and copy that. All right, that's pretty good. I'm just gonna copy that for the remaining 4 measures. I'm gonna come back and do the rolls a little later. Now I'm gonna go through and put down some open hats. So keeping that pretty simple. And now I'm gonna lay down some basic snares. I'm gonna go ahead and add all the snare rolls and all that after I add in my hi-hat rolls. So I'm gonna go ahead and put down the 808s just so I can kind of get a gist of the bounce. First thing I gotta do is find the root note. It sounds like C's the right note, so I'm gonna stick with that. I'm just gonna keep it like simple one hits. Actually, that might get kind of boring, so what I'm gonna do is make this one a triplet. Copy that pattern over for the second half. So now going back to the hi-hats, I'm gonna put down the rolls. I'm gonna go up to the magnet here and select the 1/3 step snap to grid and get the little paintbrush tool, and let's get to work. I wanna put like a high roll right here and roll off the velocities really steep. Alright, I'm pretty much going to take this whole first half here and copy it for the second half. And I might play around with some of the note placement a little bit here and some of the velocities, but I'll just skip ahead to the final hi-hat pattern. Alright, so now we got the rolls for the hi-hats done. Now it's time to go do the rolls for the snares. These are definitely going to be more complicated than the hi-hats. That's solid. So I think I pretty much got mostly what I want for the drums. The only thing is I want to go back in here and make this a little more interesting. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to do anything too much with the 808s. I just want to keep it pretty simple. So I'm going to go to the C note here. I'm probably just going to duplicate it like this. So I'm going to take all these sounds and route them to the mixer track. And like I said earlier, I want to add another sound to this. So I'm going to open up Contact and I'm going to go to Ethno World 6. I'm going to open up the stringed instruments and I probably want a Koto, I think. And under the Koto, I'm going to go to the key. From here, I'm just gonna go ahead and put down a pretty basic melody just to kind of accent what we have and just to add another layer to it so it doesn't get too boring. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off all the drum sounds just so it's a little easier to work with here. Per the 808s, the key of this beat is in C minor. The only thing I want to do is make this sound a little bit more realistic. So I'm going to extend this note right here and lower this velocity a little bit. Actually, I'm going to lower all these velocities and I'm just going to go through manually and click them down so they're a little lower. I want to add a little bit of a strum to it. So to make this strum effect, I'm going to go to the 1/3 step snap to grid. Probably make it about half the length of the original note. I'm going to highlight it and hit Control U. And then in the velocity here, I'm just going to slope it up something like this. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take these and copy it for this one over here. I'm just going to copy these to just random ones to kind of put emphasis on it and make it sound more realistic. Like this one, I might chop a couple of these notes off here at the end. And I'll slope these in a little differently. And then for the last one, I'll do the same thing. And then I'll just delete this and clone it for the second half. I'm gonna route this to its own mixer track. I wanna add some effects to our original sample, and I'm gonna do that by opening up some RC20. And I wanna give it a little bit of like a detune and reverb type of vibe. So I'm gonna go down to vinyl 3, turn off the noise, turn off the wobble as well. The only thing I'm really gonna be playing with is the distortion and the space. And I'm gonna turn the low cut up, probably around like 300 hertz, just so we have enough of a cut to leave room for the 808s and all that. I think that's gonna be good for the original sample effects. Now I wanna go to the Koto. First thing I wanna do is add some reverb to it, probably turn up the wet a little bit. And the low cut. Turn up the decay. Actually, I wanna hear what this sounds like an octave up. I'm gonna take this and move it up 1 octave. Oh, it doesn't have an octave. To fix that problem, I'm gonna go to the mixer track and put some sound shifter on it and just put it up by 12 semitones. There's a little bit of a gap at the beginning, so I'm gonna render this out and just manually shift it back so it's fixed. So I'm gonna arm the mixer track, render out 10 measures of it, and then go back to the mixer track and hit Alt-R, song selection, cut remainder, and start. And move this down here, double click on it, change the mode to stretch, and I'm gonna go to the beginning and move this using shift scroll or alt shift scroll. And I'm gonna go ahead and mute contact, and let's see what it sounds like with the melody now. All right, that's pretty good. Cut off the remainder of this. I'm getting a little tired of hearing the same key, so I'm going to bump this up probably another half step or two and just see what it sounds like. All right, that's pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix this and I'll be back for the arrangement. All right, so I pretty much have all the building blocks I want. And so now let's just start on the arrangement, which should be pretty simple and straightforward. I'm not gonna do too much with it. I probably mentioned it earlier, but I just wanted to keep this pretty simple. And then we don't need the contact anymore because we already rendered it. One thing I wanna do before I arrange anything though, is make a second snare pattern. And I just don't want this roll to be in every single time. So I'm just gonna delete it. And the second pattern will be just that roll, so I can choose to keep it whenever I want. All right, so I think it's pretty much gonna be some variant of this. Take these right here and make unique versions of these, and I'm gonna color them different just so I don't get them confused, just so I can differentiate between the two. And then all I'm gonna do is just drop these an octave. So put the range up to 12 here, pitch wheel all the way down. So I'm just gonna go ahead, throw my tag down and all that. And yeah, that'll probably be the final beat. Appreciate y'all for watching this one. I appreciate all the support that y'all been giving me recently. And that's gonna wrap it up for this one. Hope y'all enjoyed it, and I'll see y'all on the next one.
Roll up,